Who are you?
JC.
JC who?
JC Noel.
JC Noel?
No, JC.
JC Aaron.
There's all these hurdles preventing me from reaching all the ambitions that I've set out, that it's more just like hindering what I'm trying to accomplish. With this bipolar disorder, I'm still navigating it. I'm still trying to be as open as humanly possible. Although with the way this year is going, I wish God would have just put me out of my misery. So at least we have our health. Not the mental ones, though. Just got done with actually several crying sessions.
I don't want to call this rock bottom, but if it gets any more rock bottom than this, you guys will never hear from me again.
I'm just gonna finish out the year, not on social media. So I'll see you guys next year. I didn't know if I wanted to be alive anymore.
I haven't posted since April 2024 because I unfortunately did hit rock bottom. My mental health was at an all-time low, my physical health was declining, and I really felt like something was killing me from inside. And I not only gave up posting, but I really just stopped caring about everything. And I felt like there was no point in telling anyone anything that was happening within me. I feel evaporated of tears and eliminated of who I used to be. If my life mattered, I would ask, will I live or die? But I'm tired of wandering through these depths of my sadness, wondering when I'll reach the other side. In the past, I truly thought I was a hypochondriac because I was always searching for some type of answer to everything that was wrong with me. But nothing ever fit. So I used to always joke that, well, I got a bad case of the shadow brains. And then something happened. I had a series of crazy events over the past 8 months that led me to discovering absolutely everything that's ever been wrong with me. I found the poison that was eating me alive, and it started this summer when I felt like I was paralyzed and really thought I was having a stroke. But the real answer to what was happening was something that I never expected and something that led me down the path of discovering what was really behind my shadow brains. And I unknowingly documented it all. Hi everyone, I'm JC. I do fun story times here on YouTube, but this is without a doubt the most insane story I will ever tell. This is the stories of all stories. And side note, don't be alarmed by that episode card. I'm not gonna draw this out. These will all be standalone episodes, but they compile into a series all about my healing journey. So if you wanna follow the full story, then hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, I'm not gonna drag this out. This episode will be all about the stroke, okay? All right, moving on. So like I said, I was going through a very tough time back in 2024. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and that was contributing to a lot of my up and down moods. I've done several videos on this. If you want to check them out, I'll leave them linked down below and up above. But when I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder, it really did feel like the temporary answer to why I felt so sad all the time, why I also got very manic. And it really did explain a lot of my weird moods. But over time, it just didn't feel like it fit anymore because my life became so much more debilitating from the depressions. I was really sleeping my life away and I had zero energy to even live.
I took a 3.5 hour nap and I'm still just exhausted.
I didn't film for a week. I just cried for a week. I was not having a good day in general. Just one of my weird moods. I just get these weird moods a lot.
So I'm just in a weird mood.
But I'm just in a weird mood. I just napped in a park for 2 hours. So it's just been an annoying 3 days because I think I've slept like 13 hours each day. I haven't really eaten, haven't had any motivation.
So I'm like, I can't bring myself to do anything, but I need to.
But I wanted to be honest with you guys that it's been a weird month.
You know, it was just one thing after another where everything just felt like everything was going wrong and everything was just really disappointing. My days and weeks just felt shorter than everybody else's, like I had fewer days in my week. It felt like I was so zapped of energy that I couldn't do anything outside of basic survival and the bare necessities of taking care of myself, as if life was like, oh, I can't handle the soul-crushing weight of 2 very manageable tasks. And I had been on medication. I was medicated for my bipolar disorder.
Christian. Rehab. Christian had to go to rehab because he couldn't drink beer like a normal person.
But it really did feel like my medication just wasn't working anymore. And I really did my research. I was convinced that something much bigger was wrong with me. I thought I had hypothyroidism, or it could be diabetes. I also thought I had like OCD and ADHD, all these different things, little parts would fit. I did all my research. I did everything but go to a doctor. I don't go to the doctors. I don't like the doctors. But nothing ever seemed quite right. And so needless to say, I was at a very low point, but it truly hit rock bottom during December of 2023, where I basically almost actually died.
I'm convinced somebody put a hex on me in December because I've never had a worse month in my life. Here are all the things that happened. The first thing was my stupid car. I guess my automatic mirror motor busted, my serpentine belt needed replacing, my clock spring went out, more automobile words here. Basically, I had to put $1,000 worth of fixes into my stupid Kia. Then I came home one day and my ceiling collapsed over my bed.
You guys, I just came home. Look at my bedroom. What the hell? No. Oh my God. My ceiling fell? I just called my landlord and I was like, my ceiling fell? And he was like, what do you mean it fell? I was like, I don't know, there's a gaping hole in the roof. And he goes, in the roof? And I was like, well, not the roof, but the ceiling. The roof's fine. There's a pile of dirt and my whole bedroom looks like a volcanic eruption happened in here. What the hell?
That was a fun death-flavored experience. But the plot thickened like stale gravy because then my car got broken into. They spent a lot of time in there because they went through my CDs, my trunk, and took a whole bunch of stuff. This is the second time my car has gotten broken into this year, except this time they took my garage door opener and a lot of documents with my address on it, which means they could come and find me and murder me. So I ended up having to stay at my brother's for 2 weeks because I did not feel safe in my apartment. Also because my ceiling was collapsing. And just when I thought the holiday season couldn't get any worse, on Christmas Day, we received the devastating call that my grandma had passed away. So not a very joyous occasion at all, not a very happy day, but rest in peace, Grandma, we love you. And then after spending 2 weeks with my brother and then a little bit of time at my parents', I finally returned to my apartment and got a notice that my rent would be getting raised. Yes, after all of this ceiling catastrophe happened. So yeah, to whoever has my voodoo doll, can you please give me a break? Because I currently have the anxiety of somebody being hunted by sport. So please, I'm tired.
So yeah, life was so bad, I truly thought someone had a voodoo doll of me aimed at ruining my life. And I really did feel like I was burdened with this curse. And every day I would think like, will life get any better? No worries if not, but also some worries, because I don't know if I'm gonna make it. So I stopped pursuing my goals because they just weren't happening. And I stopped posting, I stopped living my life. And all I really was doing was just surviving. That was all I could manage. And this was difficult because once I stopped posting, I was just basically living off the minimum wage payments from my ice cream scooping job. And that's not really gonna cut it if I want to feed myself and keep shelter over my head, you know, ja feel? And so that only put me deeper into depression. And I've tried a million times to find the poison eating me alive, but I'm at the end of myself. What's wrong with me? Everything's broken in me, and I just need some kind of peace. That was tough to read. Also, side note, and just for future blanket reference, when I journal, I'm usually like listening to music or scrolling the internet. So a lot of the things that I write are either like interpolations of things I see online or music lyrics that I'm subconsciously immersing myself in. Or sometimes I just have this beautiful poet that lives inside of me and I'll write something and I'll think, where the hell did that come from? So blanket statement, I don't know where a lot of the things I say come from, whether my own noggin or somewhere else. I'm pretty sure I already used a quote from Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat in this video. So Goes to show ya. Any hoosel. So needless to say, I was at rock bottom. I was the cow being spun around in a tornado for cinematic effect. But then my sister got pregnant and I found out I was gonna be an Auntie JC. And even though I don't want children of my own, hearing this news changed something within me. And I truly had this mindset of, oh, I don't want to give up anymore. I want to be around for this kid. And something inside me changed that day, and that's where the dominoes started falling. So during this time, the effects of my mental health started permeating through my physical health, and more importantly, through my physical appearance. And that's because I got another stress zit.
My stress zit has turned black. So I don't know if that means I'm gonna die. Damn it! I got another stupid black zit.
My stress zit is still here. It's been like a month. I don't know, you guys.
But I got my third ever stress zit. So I have this like stress zit, this depression zit, and it's just a big zit that appears on my cheeks and turns black and doesn't go away for a while.
So that is one of my key indicators that I know my brain juice isn't quite flowing correctly. But then the physical effects got even worse because one day I woke up and my jaw felt frozen shut. Now I think I have TMJ. I don't know, I've never been to a doctor, don't like the doctors. But I do know that this is a side effect with my bipolar.
I have bipolar disorder, and here are the 5 ways I know I'm about to enter a hypomanic episode. Number 1 is that my jaw will start hurting. I guess I clench a lot when I'm manic, and my resting face is just flexing every muscle in my mouth, and by the end of the day, it feels like I was chewing rocks all day, so my jaw will hurt.
One day I wake up and my jaw is just locked tight. But this one was different because it didn't feel like I was going into mania. It didn't feel like I was having these super high-low swings anymore. It just felt like, what the frick frack, I can't yap anymore because my jaw is sealed shut. And I don't like that. And over the next couple days, it just got tighter and tighter, and it became so painful to the point that it hurt to talk. And so I was going to work and I had to wear a mask for the first time because I couldn't even emote. I literally had to like just use my eyes to talk because I couldn't move my mouth. Tangent, I actually kind of loved wearing a mask to work, and I wish I would have done it more sooner because I didn't have to try as hard because I just had to use my eyes and not my actual mouth. So I'd be like, hey guys, how you doing today? Yeah, what can I get for you? Oh, that sounds so good. I love chocolate ooey gooey brownie. It was great. And Tyra Banks would have been proud at me how well I had to learn how to smize because I couldn't use any other of my other facial features. But it was nice because I didn't have to try so hard at my minimum wage ice cream scooping job. Any hoosel. So a few days later, I wake up and my entire head, my entire face is completely frozen. Like I felt like I was an ice cube and was completely paralyzed and could only move my eyes. I was terrified that I was having a stroke. You know, they teach you that the first things in a stroke is facial drooping and paralysis and that you can't move it. And so I'm kind of sitting there panicking, being like, oh my God, like, do I need to go to the hospital? What is happening to me right now? So I called off work and I kind of just monitored it to see if it would get worse. Should I have gone to the doctors? Sure, but I don't like the doctors. So I did my best to just keep an eye on it. Now, over the next couple of days, it got a little less frozen. I gained a little bit of mobility in my face, and I didn't feel like I was dying from inside. But I started getting weirder symptoms where my face kind of defrosted a little bit, but I started getting these kooky face spasms where all of a sudden I would just feel my face start spasming and I couldn't control it, and I'd be like, what is happening? I couldn't access the muscles to turn it off, and it was kind of freaking me out because it just kept happening throughout the day. Then I started getting these crazy face cramps where, you know, like when you get a Charlie horse in your leg and you're like, oh God, like stretch it out. I started getting those in my face. But like, you can't really stretch your face. I don't know, maybe you can. But I would get them like under my eye and you could see it lump up and I'd be like, what the heck, what do I do? I started getting them like in my jowls, I guess. And I couldn't find the muscles to relax them or turn them off. So these weird cramps kept popping up throughout my face all throughout these next few days. Then the muscle cramps started creeping into my neck, where I get cramps like when I yawn really hard, my neck will cramp and I'll be like, oh God, like it feels like I got tasered by a cop or something. But I would get these weird cramps every now and then. But now all of a sudden it was happening all around my neck and I couldn't turn it off. Again, like I could stretch it a little bit, but just all throughout the day, my neck would involuntarily cramp and I'd kind of just be like stuck there trying to breathe and work my way through it. And what's crazy is that during this time, I actually went to a wedding, and during the wedding weekend, all this was happening and I couldn't turn off my cramps, and you could see in photos that my neck was just cramping up and you could just see the dips and valleys of my Adam's apple, and it just wasn't going away. So normally when it comes to any body stuff, I just say womp womp and move on. But this seemed kind of concerning. I was like, did I have a stroke? Am I currently going through one? Is my body shutting down on me from all of this depression and lack of energy? I really started getting worried that something truly medically serious was wrong. So I started bringing more attention and awareness to my head, and I kind of started realizing, okay, the origination of this pain is coming from my jaw. That's what's making my face frozen, my neck cramp up. Something's wrong with my jaw. And it made me think back to something that my orthodontist had said a few years ago. So for background, going all the way back to little JC, oh no, my ring. But little JC was a big thumb sucker. I sucked my thumb for far too long. And apparently when I was sucking my thumb for all those years, I was effectively pushing my teeth out with my thumb, so I had a gnarly snaggletooth. So I got braces when I was super young. Then I had them off for a few years and I had to get a second round again in middle school because my teeth just kept moving around so much. I ended up getting a third round of Invisalign into my adulthood because again, my teeth moved around so much. And fun fact, I even had a tooth up by my nose that never grew in correctly, and so I had to get that surgically removed from my face when I was 17 years old. Lots of teeth trauma in my history. And tangent, I have people online accusing me of getting veneers, which no shame if you do, but I worked hard for these bad boys. I suffered for years with braces. I had one of those expanders where my mom had to like lay me down and physically crank my mouth open to expand my palate. I had to do double rubber bands crisscrossing over at the peak of puberty when boys were supposed to like me but didn't because I had a mouthful of railroad tracks. Don't accuse me of having veneers. I worked hard for these, okay? So put that rumor to rest. But back on the railroad tracks now, Thomas. So my orthodontist, when I was an adult going in for a third round of Invisalign, he kept saying, your teeth move a lot. Like you shouldn't have had to have these many rounds of braces. And he goes, you know what I think it is? Get this, you guys. He says, I think it's the way that you swallow. Now everybody pause, take a minute. Go ahead and swallow. Just do a normal swallow. Where was your tongue when you swallowed? Go ahead, try it again if you need to. Everybody take a minute, swallow. If you said that your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth, you'd be correct, and you have good tongue posture. It's the name of my band. However, when I swallow, my tongue is touching my teeth. And as a result of all of these years of swallowing against my teeth, I am again effectively pushing my teeth out and causing them to move more. And I remember when he told me that years ago, he was like, oh, you need to practice not doing that. And I was like, oh, you want me to change an automatic function of my life? You want me to just change something I've been doing for over 3 decades? I don't think so, Dr. Todd. He was hot though, I like Dr. Todd. So during this time of all this lockjaw, I really did think back to that and go, is this what's causing it? Am I swallowing weird? Am I effectively causing all of my own pain? Let me kind of take a little bit more notice of it throughout my days. So over the next few days, I just brought more attention to my mouth. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it really is my tongue placement. My tongue not only swallows against my teeth, but my tongue is resting against my teeth. So my tongue is like resting at an angle in my mouth like this. And the more I kind of started noticing, the more I would catch myself sucking on my teeth all day. Like I'd just be sitting there and be like, and I thought, that's kind of weird. But then it made me think back to how I used to have a picking disorder. I could just sit on the couch at night and turn on a movie and just be pushing down on my gums. That would last for hours. I would not even realize that I would be doing it for an hour to 2 hours. I would not even realize that my mouth was bleeding. By just pushing down my gums a little bit, I can push down the anxiety, push down the depression, and start to feel like myself again. And that's when I realized this was a lot more mental than what I thought it was. So you can check out that whole video. I'll leave it linked down below. But I really did think about like, okay, I did love picking my teeth because it was comforting and it was a way to cope. And teeth sucking was also a part of that it kind of brought me this comfort. And so bringing awareness again to my mouth and realizing this, there was one day where I was sucking on my teeth. I caught myself mid-suck and I was noticing the way my tongue was placed, the way I was sucking on my teeth. I opened my mouth, I put my thumb in my mouth, and my tongue rested perfectly against my thumb. And it was in that moment that it was so clear that I was just subconsciously sucking my thumb. I was doing it without the thumb because I'm an adult now. You can't do that anymore. But I was essentially sucking my thumb to the point of chronic head tension. I would just sit there all day long and unknowingly suck my thumb to the point that I was inflating my head like a hot air balloon late to the New Mexico festival. And it was bringing so much pain and tension to my face that I didn't even realize that's what was causing it. And as soon as I realized it was the sucking that was causing all of this tension, I was able to stop and kind of wean off the next couple of days. And that's when everything kind of started subsiding, that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a grown-ass woman and I've been sucking my thumb to the point of almost needing to go to the hospital because I had a stroke. But it didn't even end there. So I started bringing more attention to the rest of my body, you know? I was like, everything in my head is in so much pain, like, let me start noticing anything else in my body. And this kind of came up because I had had a manic episode, or what I thought was a manic episode, and I had hurt my back. Hi, it's me. See all those trash bags back there? I had a bit of a manic episode and decided to get rid of half of my apartment all in one go. So all of this stuff is all going to the dumpster. It's all garbage. So after doing all that cleaning, my back was in so much pain. Like I was like, oh, it hurts so much. And so I went to the gym the next day and I told my gym coach, I said, hey, my back is hurting. Like, I'm gonna take it easy today. And he goes, where on your back? And I said, I don't know, my back. And he goes, upper, mid, lower. And I was like, nah. And he starts like poking at my back. He's like, here, here, here. And I was like, I don't know, it kind of just aches back there. I don't know what to tell you. And so he says, wow, you have a really bad mind-body connection. And I thought, that's not actually the first time I've heard that before. So I am somewhat medically diagnosed as having an awful mind-body connection because I have had numerous doctors, back when I would go see them, tell me I had such a high pain tolerance. And it was like, they called it my little pain button. I never once pressed it. I never once felt any kind of pain or reason to use it. So the nurses would come in and they'd be like, wow, you have an insanely high pain tolerance. But essentially he turns it all the way up and he goes, how about now? And I was like, that's fine. And he goes, wow, you have a really high pain tolerance because it's on maximum power and you're not even flinching. So that's when I learned I'm basically like a superhero where I'm impervious to pain and I can break bones and still walk on them, and doctors hate me because they can't figure out why. So I did have one doctor who commented, wow, like you don't really feel any pain. And I was like, I know, I'm a superhero. And they're like, or that's really bad that you don't have a good mind-body connection. And I was like, that sounds like a negative spin on something I was trying to make a positive, so I don't appreciate that. But they were right. I had no mind-body connection because I couldn't even feel where pain was coming from most of the time. And I never realized it until this moment. My back was hurting and my coach was asking, point into a general heat map of your body where it is. And I'd circle the whole body because I was like, I don't even know. So I start thinking about this over the next couple of days. I'm like, wow, like my face was frozen and like my body's in pain. What is going on? So I start bringing more attention to my body, like I've said. And so I would go to the gym, and for the first time, I've been going to the gym for years, but for the first time I'd be like, you know what? Let me actually like focus on what muscles I'm moving. Let me not actually just do the motion of squats and hip thrusts. Let me do it slowly and try to feel the muscle that it's working. And I couldn't. I'd have my coach come over and I'd say, touch the muscle in my arm. I'm supposed to be feeling this. He'd touch it and I'd go, I can't feel it. I can't feel that at all. And so then I went home that night and I was like, what's going on? So I laid on the ground and I lifted my leg and I could feel that like one muscle was moving. One muscle was doing all of the work. So I kind of put my hand under my thigh and I held on that one muscle and I said, okay, lift my leg. I couldn't lift my leg. I couldn't move. I couldn't access any of the muscles. I did the same thing where I was laying on my back and I said, okay, let me try to sit up with just that one muscle. And I couldn't access it. And the more I sat there trying to access all these different muscles and trying to make that mind-body connection, the more I started panicking because I was like, I can't feel my body. I can't feel anything. I'm paralyzed, and not paralyzed in the sense that I couldn't move, but paralyzed in the sense I couldn't feel. I couldn't feel anything that was happening in my body. I started like touching my thigh, touching my arm, closing my eyes and being like, where am I touching? Let me guess. I'd open my eyes and I'd be on the wrong body part. It felt like from the inside I was touching my stomach, but my hand was on my thigh. And I started panicking because again, my brain goes back to, did I have a stroke? Did I have something zap in my brain to where I now can't feel anything at all and I'm never gonna get feeling again? And so that's when the panic really started setting in. So I just started reflecting on everything, because when my face got frozen, it really felt like I caused that. I sucked my thumb so hard that my face froze. But I didn't even know that I was subconsciously sucking my thumb. How long had I been doing that? For as long as I could remember? Or was it just recently because I was a little bit more stressed? And then when I thought about my body, I was like, have I always been frozen in my body and I'm just now realizing it? Or did it recently freeze over and now I'm noticing it? And so after a few nights, it really started arising where I was just like, I can't feel my body. I've been sucking my thumb and I didn't even realize it. How long have I been like this? How long have I not been able to feel my body? What is happening to me? And so then I asked the important questions of, why was I sucking my thumb? What am I coping from? What am I trying to escape from? What am I trying to protect myself from? And it was asking those questions that in that moment was when I began the spiral. Because after asking those questions, I ended up having to quit my ice cream scooping job and go completely off the grid from friends and family. That's because I entered an intensive trauma treatment center for the next 2.5 months, followed by an assortment of doctor's appointments. And as a result of those, I ended up with 5 life-changing diagnoses where if I hadn't caught them in time, I really should be dead by now. And the craziest thing is, because of my YouTube career and how well I have documented my life, I somehow managed to capture all of the evidence. And that's what this series is going to be about. So that is episode 1 of my new series, Shadow Brains, where yes, I thought I was having a stroke, and it turns out that I was just subconsciously sucking my thumb the whole time. Can you believe that? Were you guys thumb suckers too? It's comforting, okay? I don't apologize for it. I just think it's weird how it manifested in my adulthood. So like I mentioned, these will all be standalone episodes if you want to catch the ones here and there, but if you want to follow the full healing journey, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you're notified of all future videos, and so that way you can join me along as I make my comeback onto the tube. But I also just wanted to mention, since this is my first video back in quite some time, that I appreciate everyone who I appreciate everyone who reached out to me during this time. This was without a doubt the hardest 6 months I've ever been through. And I feel like a lot of people could sense that I was going through something because I just completely went off the grid. And if you follow my vlog channel, you will have seen that I was slowly descending into madness and really not doing well. And so there were many of you that reached out to me, DM'd me, emailed me, just asking if I was okay. And I didn't have the capacity to respond to a lot of those, but they meant everything. It was just the little check-ins that, you know, kept me going. And I can't express how grateful I am to all of you that did reach out. I'm sorry that I couldn't respond, but you have no idea how meaningful that was to me for doing that, so thank you. But on that note, I do have a vlog channel if you want to check it out. It's called JC Aaron Hosts. I haven't posted a vlog in a while, but I hope to get back into it. But more importantly, I want to start focusing on that channel on my real life job, because since the last time you guys saw me, I actually have gotten my dream job. Here's a little reel I put together. If I could host a TV show like that someday in my future, I wouldn't ask the universe for anything ever again. That's all I want.
And maybe, I don't know, my own talk show or something someday.
That's pretty bold. I don't know about that.
I was in the process of interviewing for my dream job, which was hosting. I would love to be some type of host.
I'm off to do something very exciting, and that's start my life. Today is my very first day with my new hosting gig.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Lifestyles. This is a real-time live talk show for the modern woman covering topics from beauty tips, fashion advice, wellness tips, and sustainable living practices. So yes, I have my own talk show now, you guys. It is my show. I write the whole thing. I host it. I lead it. I moderate it. It is truly such a dream come true. So if you wanted to check it out or show some support, we go live on YouTube every other Wednesday, and we put all of our clips on social media. So you can follow the channel at livestyles.tv, or you could follow me on my other platforms to see when we're going live, when we're posting the next episode, all that good stuff. But I would appreciate your support and see the fruits of my labor of what I've been working towards, because that has been another thing that has just been a saving grace in my life. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm happy to be back, and I can't wait to tell you about the rest of this crazy journey because it is absolutely insane. So I hope to see you guys in the next video. Toodles!